everybody, I hope you're super well. I'm sitting here on a balcony in beautiful Sydney looking over the harbour, and I'm up here for a couple of meetings and to see a very good friend of mine, Mr. York Bockler.
And here we are with Mr. York Bockler in sunny Sydney. Yes, York's back. And he says,
Yeah, what's a long aperture?
yes, the shutter.
Yes, shutter speed.
I got a question. Thank you very much for that question. And the question was about third-party lenses. Sorry, I've still got this cold, which I've had for about 2 months now. It's driving me crazy. So I sound a little bit like a frog, bit of a hoarse frog. Anyway, third-party lenses, yes. The question is, should one buy third-party lenses over genuine lenses? And I think that's a really good question. Let's go back in time 35 years. I started with my first SLR. It was a Pentax K1000. And
so here it is. I actually didn't think I would find it, but there is the Canon lens. You can see 24 to 210, although it's rather worn, because I used this lens for almost 10 years. And there it is, the K1000. Beautiful.
the very first lens I bought for that Pentax K1000 was a 28 to 200 Canon lens. Now I don't know if Canon still exists anymore. I'll check that out. It's written here below. Does it still exist? Here it is. A 28 to 200, 3.5, 5.6 through the range. And that was a lens that allowed me to do everything. And that was absolutely perfect for what I needed back in that day and age. It was one lens, one camera, never changed, never came off the body, covered everything that I needed, and I was having fun. And perfect. It was perfect. It got me going. I had no money at the start, so it got me going. And it wasn't until, so that was sort of the late 80s and the early 90s. In 1997, I finally upgraded to Nikon and bought a Nikon F5.
And here is the outstanding F5. Love it, with a 50mm 1.8 on it. This is the biz. Still got it.
And of course, that changed my world, and that was amazing. But for those first 10 years, some of it just as a hobbyist and then some of it moving into the professional space, for those first 10 years, that lens allowed me to do everything I needed to do, and that lens got me on the map. So I'm a massive fan that if you're right now not a paid photographer, or even if you are a paid photographer, but right now you're just getting started, you want to experiment, you want to have fun, third-party lenses make a lot of sense because they allow you to get into the space at a much cheaper price. You know, it might be 60 or 70% of the genuine price. So that means you can get into it, you can experiment, you can do more things. So I'm a big fan. What are the pros and cons? Well, one of the strongest arguments I've heard for buying genuine lenses was that Nikon, who's making lenses for themselves, they know what their roadmap is. They know what their cameras are going to be doing. They know what's happening. Well, sure, that's a great argument. You create a lens knowing that you're going to have a 60 megapixel camera in 2020, so you need to have the resolution in the lens. Okay, great. It's a good argument. It's a fair argument. But the reality is that if you're buying a lens and you want it to last the next 5 years, you know, it's probably and they're going to make the lens based on the cameras that they know are around today. They're probably also pretty up there with the technology, whether it's, say, Tamron or Sigma. They know what's going on. They're going to look at it. They're going to think about it. So I would say that argument is true, but I think probably ultimately the differential between a manufacturer who doesn't know what's going to happen but is guessing and understands the future and knows about technology versus genuine manufacturer who definitely knows what their plans are, it might be a 10 or 20% difference at best. And whether you can end up even seeing that 10 or 20% difference, well, that is totally arguable. So, really, if you're not making money out of your photography, or you're not making a lot of money out of your photography, it really does make a lot of sense to get those third-party lenses. Now, you also might ask the question, what about second-hand lenses? Well, second-hand lenses versus new third-party lenses, I would always say go with the new one. The problem with second-hand lenses is it's a bit like second-hand cars. You really don't know how they've been treated. And lenses are something that really need to be looked after. You know, they can't really be dropped or bashed or taken to the beach. All these things cause problems, and those problems can be hidden within, and you never really know those problems are there until you kind of one day go, I don't really know why this is never working for me. So lenses are really difficult to tell what's going on. I think most second-hand dealers that I've ever observed or sold to, I've only ever bought one second-hand lens in my life, which I've been lucky. It's been great. It's all been all good. They don't send them back to the factory to get factory tested before they sell them. They just take them in, say thanks very much, and then they sell it on, and it's a buyer beware situation, which I suppose is kind of fair enough, but that's how it works. So a new third-party lens with a warranty, and it has come out of the factory calibrated, it's supposed to work, that's our expectation, versus a second-hand lens. In that particular case, I would always go with the new lens, third-party, with the warranty. But second-hand lenses on their own, they're a different story altogether. There are some great second-hand lens opportunities out there, and it's a great place to experiment. Let's say you want to know what ultra-wide feels like, but you're not sure. Well, you could get an old lens. It might be really cheap, might be $200 instead of $2,000 because it's 25 years old. It still allows you to play, still allows you to get a sense of what's going on. You get it, you play with it, you work out whether you like it or not, and then once you've worked out whether you like it or not, you can then invest in either a genuine one or a third-party one. So I do think second-hand lenses have their place, but treat it more as a test. Treat it more as a test. Unless you've found a second-hand dealer, which I haven't found here in Australia, who's doing all of that testing and makes you feel very confident that the lens is as good as new. Because they don't offer new warranties. Like, let's say you go back to an Apple store and you buy a refurbished Mac, they still give you a full 1-year warranty, so I feel pretty comfortable about that. But that doesn't happen with lenses. So I absolutely believe new third-party lenses is a great idea. Right now I don't have any. I've thought a little bit about it in more recent years, just because one, there's some interesting diverse lens choices that don't exist in the genuine space, and that's kind of interesting. And two, I've wanted some lenses that I don't think I'll use that often, more for maybe my own personal work rather than my professional work. And so I've thought, kind of, why not pay 60% of the price to get that lens when I'm only going to be using it for me. I've pretty much now got all the lenses I need for my professional work. There's only a couple of lenses I may be interested in right now for my professional work that would be genuine, and that's something like the 105 1.4. I think that sounds like an amazing lens. Is it 105 or 135? I think it's 105. And the 19mm tilt shift. So I've got the 24. The 19 is just that bit wider. It's also much more modern. It only recently came out, whereas the 24 is so very old now. So very old and really needs to be updated. Of course, I'm very excited about the new 200 to 400, which I think it's a 180 to 400 with the built-in teleconverter. Holy cow, what a lens. I've got the previous 200 to 400, which is a cracker, and I've done a film about it. You can see it here. But that lens is like $20,000 here, so I'm pretty much never going to get one of those anytime soon. Absolutely amazing. I might ask Nikon one day if I can have a play with one and make a film about it, but it's just out of my price range. I'll never be able to justify it. So anyway, I think there's a place for third party. I think there's a place for genuine. You need to work out where you are in the world. If your budget, like, it's pretty simple. If your budget is, I really want 70 to 200 and I can afford the third party new one, and I can't afford the new, say, Nikon one, then definitely buy that third party one so you can just get on with your life. You can get on with experimenting. You can get on with your passion. You can get on with your art. You can get on with your customers. So do it. And I really look forward to seeing that work come to life. So please tell me. I'd really love to hear your third-party lens stories. I'm sure there's so many third-party lenses out there. I'd love to hear your stories. I'd love to hear what you think. And thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Please like and please share. We love a good share. And I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye for now.